Hey, bookworms, and welcome back to Insightful Odyssey. Don't forget to hit that like button and share this deep dive with your friends and subscribe for more literary journeys. So today we're diving deep into a world of complex relationships and raw emotions with Elena Ferrante's Neapolitan novels. You're interested in exploring this series, and I have to say it's a captivating one. We're dealing with 4 books here. My Brilliant Friend, The Story of a New Name, Those Who Leave and Those Who Stay, and The Story of the Lost Child.
And what's remarkable is how these novels unfold. Ferrante chooses to tell the story through the eyes of Elena Greco, and her narration revolves around her intricate, often turbulent, lifelong friendship with Lila Cerullo.
Okay, so we've got this intense friendship at the heart of it all, spanning decades. And I was immediately hooked by the opening of My Brilliant Friend, Lila Vanishes Without a Trace. Talk about setting a mysterious tone from the get-go.
It's brilliant, isn't it? That disappearance becomes a sort of haunting presence throughout the entire series. But beyond the mystery, Ferrante paints such a vivid picture of post-war Naples, a setting so impoverished that it almost becomes a character itself.
It's true. It feels like the neighborhood shapes every aspect of Elena and Lila's lives, from their aspirations to their fears,
Yeah.
even their understanding of love and justice.
Exactly. Their childhood experiences within this community really lay the groundwork for the complexities they face later in life. For example, do you remember the scene where Elena and Lila throw their dolls into the basement?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That scene in My Brilliant Friend always stuck with me. It felt so symbolic, like they were rejecting the limitations of their world, but also showcasing this shared curiosity for what lies beyond.
Precisely. And that duality, that push and pull between rebellion and curiosity, becomes a recurring theme throughout the series.
It's so interesting how Ferrante contrasts Elena and Lila's personalities, too. Lila, a force of nature, excels in school, but makes the decision to leave education behind. It sets them on such different paths, even at a young age.
It's a pivotal point, wouldn't you say, Elena? Initially envious of Lila's early marriage in The Story of a New Name, chooses to continue her studies. And it's fascinating to see how Ferrante doesn't shy away from portraying the raw emotions that come with their diverging choices.
That tension is palpable, especially as they navigate adulthood. And those who leave and those who stay. Lila openly resents Elena's academic success. It highlights the competitive undercurrent in their relationship. I mean, even with the support and understanding they share, there's this sense of rivalry that simmers beneath the surface.
It speaks to the complexity of female friendship, doesn't it? And Ferrante masterfully captures how those dynamics evolve amidst the societal expectations placed on women during that era. Expectations around marriage, motherhood, and even social mobility.
It's like Elena constantly tries to decipher Lila, to understand her motivations. And she uses her writing as a tool to do just that, blurring the lines between their lives. In The Story of the Lost Child, Lila's influence remains incredibly strong even when they're physically distant. It's almost like she's inescapable.
It makes you question how much our childhood friendships, especially those intense early bonds, continue to shape us throughout our lives, doesn't it? And this is where Ferrante's genius shines through. She delves into these universal themes: female ambition, the enduring impact of social class, and the very nature of personal identity, all woven into this intricate tapestry of friendship.
Yes, it's not just a captivating story. It's a deep dive into the human psyche, for example. There's that striking moment in The Story of a New Name when Lila believes justice can only be achieved through violence. It's a harsh perspective, but one that reflects the brutal realities of their environment.
And that's juxtaposed with Elena's internal struggle, isn't it? Despite her achievements, she constantly feels inadequate in comparison to Lila, highlighting the subtle but powerful ways in which their friendship shapes their self-perception.
And then there's Lila's talk about dissolving boundaries in The Story of the Lost Child. It's a fascinating concept that hints at her unique way of perceiving the world, a perception that's both captivating and at times heartbreaking.
It makes you wonder if Lila's brilliance comes at a cost, doesn't it? If her heightened sensitivity and perception also contribute to her struggles. It's these layers, these moments of introspection that elevate the novels beyond a simple narrative.
Absolutely. And speaking of layers, let's not forget the ongoing mystery surrounding Elena Ferrante's true identity. The author's decision to remain anonymous just adds another layer of intrigue to the whole experience.
It's almost as if Ferrante wants us to focus solely on the story, on the raw and unfiltered experiences of these women, without the distractions of knowing the author's background.
It definitely creates a unique reading experience. You're left to grapple with the characters and their emotions on their own terms, which I think makes the impact even stronger. And that brings us to the question of why the New York Times selected the Neapolitan novels as one of the best book series of the 21st century.
It's a combination of factors, really. Ferrante's prose is captivating, drawing you into the lives of these characters and the atmosphere of Naples. But beyond that, it's the raw honesty of the portrayal of female friendship, the complexities and contradictions that truly resonates.
And it's woven into this intricate social commentary. Ferrante doesn't shy away from exposing the darker aspects of Neapolitan society. The poverty, the violence, the limitations placed on women. It adds a layer of depth that goes beyond the personal stories of Elena and Lila.
Absolutely. It's not just a character-driven narrative. It's a reflection of a particular time and place, a society grappling with immense change. And through Elena and Lila's journeys, we witness how those changes impact individuals, families, and entire communities.
And I think that's one of the reasons these books have sparked so much discussion. They're
Yeah.
not just entertaining, they challenge us to think critically about social structures, gender roles, and the very nature of ambition.
Precisely. And it's done in a way that avoids being preachy or didactic. Ferrante allows the story and the characters to speak for themselves, inviting the reader to draw their own conclusions.
It's fascinating how Ferrante uses even seemingly mundane details to create such a rich and immersive world, like their obsession with shoes, for
Well,
instance.
absolutely. Those shoes in My Brilliant Friend become a symbol of their yearning for something beyond the confines of their neighborhood, a longing for beauty and escape.
And it's not just a fleeting detail. The motif of shoes reappears throughout the series, taking on different meanings as Elena and Lila's lives unfold. Remember how Lila eventually designs her own shoes?
It's a powerful moment, isn't it? It speaks to her creativity, her entrepreneurial spirit, but it also highlights the societal barriers she faces as a woman trying to break free from the traditional roles expected of her.
And it's not just the shoes. The way Ferrante describes the neighborhood itself is so evocative. You can practically feel the claustrophobia of their apartments, hear the bustling energy of the marketplace, and sense the underlying threat of violence that permeates their daily lives.
It creates this almost visceral experience for the reader, immersing you in the sights, sounds, and even the smells of Naples. It becomes a character in its own right, shaping the choices and destinies of everyone who inhabits it.
And let's not forget the male characters. They're not just background figures. They're complex individuals grappling with their own ambitions, insecurities, and often toxic masculinity.
Nino Serratore is a perfect example. He embodies the intellectual and social world that both Elena and Lila are drawn to, yet his character reveals the hypocrisy and flaws within those circles. He can be charming and intellectually stimulating, yet also selfish and manipulative.
His relationship with his father, Donato, is particularly intriguing. Donato, this seemingly respected figure in the community, is revealed to be capable of great cruelty, especially towards women. That scene where he makes advances towards Lana while she's working for his family is incredibly unsettling.
It's a stark reminder of the power dynamics at play within that society, the vulnerability of women, and the insidious ways in which power can be abused. It also connects back to Lila's experience with Stefano, her husband. Both women, despite their different paths, find themselves confronting the limitations placed on them by patriarchal structures.
It's one of the things that makes these novels so compelling, this constant interplay between personal struggles and the larger societal forces at work.
Okay.
And even within the confines of their friendship, Elena and Lila experience this shifting power dynamic.
It's like a dance, isn't it? They take turns leading, confiding, and even competing with each other. When one embraces domesticity, the other pursues intellectual fulfillment. But then their roles reverse, and Lila reemerges as this force to be reckoned with, challenging societal norms and expectations.
And even when their paths diverge, even when they're at odds with each other, there's this undeniable connection between them. It's a bond that can't be broken, no matter how much they try to push each other away.
It's both beautiful and frustrating, wouldn't you say? There's jealousy, resentment, and even betrayal. But beneath it all, there's this profound understanding, a shared history that no one else can fully comprehend.
That's what makes their friendship so fascinating, so relatable. It's not idealized or romanticized. It reflects the messiness of real human relationships.
Hmm.
And it makes you think about your own friendships, the people who've shaped you, challenged you, and helps you become the person you are today.
Absolutely. There's a passage in the story of the lost child that always stuck with me. Elena, reflecting on her relationship with Lila, says, "She had been my mirror, my defense, my proof that a different world was possible."
It's a powerful statement, isn't it? It encapsulates the profound impact Lila has had on Elena's life, both positive and negative. Lila represents both Elena's aspirations and her fears, her strengths and her vulnerabilities.
It makes you wonder if we all have a Lila in our lives. Someone who pushes us to be better, even if it's painful at times. Someone who shows us the possibilities beyond our own limited perspectives.
And even though the series ends with the story of the lost child, you're left with this lingering feeling that Elena and Lila's story isn't truly over.
It's like their lives continue to unfold, even in our imaginations. We're left to ponder what becomes of them, how their choices ultimately shape their destinies. And perhaps that's the ultimate testament to Ferrante's skill as a writer.
She's created characters that feel so real, so human, that they transcend the page and become part of our own lived experience. We carry them with us even after the story ends, continuing to grapple with the questions they raise and the emotions they evoke.
It's what elevates the Neapolitan novels beyond a simple coming-of-age tale. It's a profound meditation on life, love, loss, and the enduring power of friendship, all set against a backdrop of social and political upheaval.
Yeah, it's remarkable how she manages to weave those grand themes into a narrative that's also deeply personal. We see history unfolding, not through grand pronouncements, but through the eyes of these two women, navigating the complexities of their own lives. It's as if the political and social upheavals are playing out right alongside their personal struggles, impacting their choices and shaping their destinies.
Exactly, you're right. It's not just a backdrop, it's an integral part of the story. We see the impact of changing political landscapes, the rise of feminism, and the clash between traditional values and modern aspirations, all through the lens of Elena and Lila's experiences. Remember how their neighborhood is rocked by political demonstrations, factory strikes, even moments of violence?
Yeah, those scenes are so vivid, so visceral. You can feel the tension, the uncertainty, the fear that permeates their community. And it's not just external forces at play. They're grappling with their own internal conflicts, questioning their beliefs, their roles, their place in this evolving society.
Think about Lila, for example. She becomes increasingly disillusioned with the expectations placed on women. Initially, she sees marriage to Stefano as a path to security, but it ultimately becomes a cage, stifling her spirit and her potential.
And her involvement in the factory,
Yeah.
while offering a sense of purpose and financial independence, also exposes her to the harsh realities of the working class and the exploitative nature of capitalism.
It's a powerful commentary on the limitations women faced, even as they strived for agency and autonomy. And then we have Elena, experiencing her own awakening through education and exposure to intellectual circles. But even as she achieves a level of success that Lila might have envied, she's haunted by a sense of inadequacy, questioning whether she's truly escaped the confines of her upbringing.
It's a conflict that so many people who come from humble beginnings can relate to. That tension between ambition and belonging, between striving for something more and the fear of losing yourself in the process.
Absolutely, and it's through these internal and external conflicts, these moments of questioning and self-doubt, that Ferrante creates such richly layered characters. They're flawed, they make mistakes, they're often driven by contradictory impulses. But that's precisely what makes them so human, so relatable.
Their flaws are what make them feel real. It's refreshing to see female characters portrayed with such complexity, unburdened by the need to be perfect or always make the right choices.
Absolutely, and it's that realism, that unflinching portrayal of human nature that elevates the Neapolitan novels beyond a simple coming-of-age story. It's a profound meditation on life, love, loss, and the enduring power of friendship, all set against a backdrop of a society undergoing radical transformation.
It's a story that stays with you long after you finish reading. It makes you think, it makes you feel, it makes you question everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world around you.
And that, I believe, is why the New York Times chose it as one of the best book series of the 21st century. It's a timeless story that speaks to universal themes, exploring the complexities of human relationships, the search for identity in a changing world, and the enduring impact of our past on our present.
Yeah, it's a testament to Ferrante's ability to capture the human experience in all its messy glory. And I have to say, exploring these novels with you has been an incredibly enriching experience. It sparked so many thoughts and reflections.
It's been a pleasure diving into these themes with you. And as we conclude our deep dive, I'd like to leave you with one final thought. As you reflect on Elena and Lila's journey, consider this. How have your own childhood friendships shaped who you are today? What are the enduring bonds that have influenced your choices, your values, and your sense of self?
That's a powerful question to ponder. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Elena Ferrante's Neapolitan novels. We hope you've enjoyed this journey with us here on Insightful Odyssey. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful explorations into the world of literature and beyond. Until next time, keep those pages turning.